Hey everybody, this is my 10-gallon pea puffer tank here in my office, and I'm going to shoot a video about this tank in a moment, but the two puffers are just sitting right there. Well, now that I'm pointing the camera at them, they've just been sitting there motionless, staring at me. It's been kind of strange, almost creepy the way they've been looking at me. I did disturb the tank quite a bit today, a lot of commotion in there for them, which is what this video is going to be about. Up until a couple of hours ago, I had a lot of little guppy fry in this tank. I've got two females in here, or I should say I had two females in here, and then I have this little male endler down here. I don't know if the endler is responsible for the pregnant females. I believe they were probably already pregnant when they came into this tank. If not, then of course the endler is capable of impregnating the guppy, and they can crossbreed. So the offspring were probably a hybrid between a guppy and an endler. I have no idea what they were going to look like. They were really small, tiny little things. I had two generations. One were a few millimeters long, and then the next generation was only a millimeter or two, tiny little things. But I had a whole bunch of them in there, and I was talking about possibly putting them in a tank that was going to amount to them more or less just becoming feeder fish. I was going to probably put them in my gudgeon tank downstairs. It's very heavily planted. It would have given them some cover. It would have given them a chance to survive a little bit. But all in all, in the long run, they all eventually would have been food for the gudgeon. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my rubber lip lying out there. He's a really good looking fish. I'm not going to bother trying to zoom in on him at the moment. And then, of course, my two pea puffers are over here just being characters. They just keep coming up against the glass and staring at me. So, at any rate, my guppy baby problem, I had all these little guppy fry in here that I didn't want and didn't really have any place for. Ultimately, was probably going to put them in my gudgeon tank, and that would have solved my problem, although it was probably not my first choice of ways to deal with that problem. Fortunately, one of my patrons over on my Patreon channel said that they wanted the guppy babies, and if I was willing to ship them to them, they would reimburse me for the shipping costs and so on and so forth. So I have got some little cordon breather bags. They're bags that allow the transfer of gas through the plastic. So you don't have to have them all sloshing around with a big bag full of air. You can actually tie it right down to the water level, and that prevents the water from sloshing around. You can use a smaller package, and the fish can survive for quite some time in these bags because the gases exchange. You don't get a buildup of CO2 and a pH crash and all that kind of stuff. So I bought them a long time ago for my Mayan cichlid, and by the time I got around to shipping that Mayan cichlid to a friend of mine, it was way too big to fit in these little cordon breather bags that I bought. So these guppy fry were just perfect for that bag. So I scooped them all up. I threw them in there. I will put a link to the cordon bags below if you're interested in buying them. You can get them in different sizes. Again, I had bought the small size because I had planned on shipping that Mayan cichlid when it was fairly small, and it just got ahead of me and it grew too big. By the time I did ship it, I wasn't able to use those bags. So, long story short, I know it's a little late for that, but I did get those guppies all bagged up, and I got them shipped off to my patron, and hopefully by tomorrow he will have them. He is setting up a tank for his grandson, and he's going to let his grandson do whatever he wants with this tank full of guppies, and so that should be a good time for everybody, and I'm glad that that was the outcome rather than seeing them go to be food. Now, I don't necessarily have any moral or ethical issues with throwing a bunch of guppy fry in a tank and having them get eaten up, but it's certainly not my preferred choice, as I said. So knowing that they're going somewhere and some child's going to get the enjoyment of having a tank with some fish in it and everything, that makes me much happier than knowing that they were just going to get thrown in a tank and gobbled up. So that is definitely one of the benefits of being over on my Patreon page. If you're interested, I'll put a link. You can go check it out. Not only will you get exclusive video over there, I shoot a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff and little chat-type videos, things like that, but you'll also get first access to my YouTube videos. They go to Patreon for 2 days before they get published publicly on YouTube. And then, of course, you're also much more likely to be able to get some plants or some fish or something like that if I'm ever trying to get rid of something. You know, people over on my Patreon page are certainly going to get first dibs on any little things like that. So that's all this really was just a little update. I wanted to let everybody know that those guppy fry are now out of the tank, and hopefully they are on their way to their new home, and I will certainly update you when I hear from him to let you know they all arrived safely and so on and so forth. In the meantime, I still need to get in here and do a water change. You can see how low the water level is. I've got a veritable waterfall flowing up there, and if you actually look, if you wait a half a second here, if you look on top of the plants, you can see all that green, thick, gross cyanobacteria growing in mats again. So I'll just go ahead and scoop that whole mass out, throw it away, and flop a new piece of water Sprite in there and just kind of start the whole process over. You can see the rest of the tank does not have that green cyanobacteria growing in it anywhere, so that rubber lip is doing its job and keeping this tank nice and clean like I expected him to. So all in all, I'm really happy with this tank and the way it's going. I like the way the plants are growing in, and now that the population in the tank is back under control, I can already see a difference in the puffers in there. They look a lot less stressed out. You know, they don't have 20 little tiny fish swimming every which way all through the tank now, and the tank just looks a lot better from my point of view. So there you go. As I said, make sure you check out my Patreon page. You can just follow me over there if you want. You don't have to donate or subscribe. You can actually just follow along, and you will see all the stuff I post over there publicly, because I do post stuff over there publicly. Don't forget to subscribe here to my YouTube channel as well. So no matter what, you know, you're always getting my videos when they first get released, and I put a lot of them out, at least one a day, and you don't want to miss any of them. So thanks again for watching this one. Don't forget, this is my 10-gallon pea puffer tank. I'll see you real soon in the next one.